What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Fantasy Football 2022 season of start versus sit and players to look out for. Not on the waiver wire. Waiver wire has passed already, so this is just the going into the weekend matchups. Players that I think under 50% ownership are going to be able to produce this weekend to give you some love, give you a few extra points boost that you might need to overcome those matchups, as well as a few players to avoid that you think might go off, but I just can't quite see it happening. This could be the running back edition, where I'm going to start out with two players, actually, as my number one slot, and that's going to be the backups, quote-unquote backups, for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jerick McKinnon and Isaiah Pacheco both are getting playtime already, even with Clyde Edwards-Helaire being in the lineup. Only owned at 18.3 and 14.3% of leagues, respectively, but this is a game where the Kansas City Chiefs are playing Indianapolis, who just got blown out to the Jacksonville Jaguars, like 24-0. This is not a good game for Indy. This is going to be a game where Kansas City's offense goes off, and you're going to get some love on the ground for these backups. I think Isaiah Pacheco even more so than Jerick McKinnon, because McKinnon, of course, good pass catcher. Pacheco, I think, is going to get the ball, get some touches, and get a lot of yardage on the ground, because Kansas City's just going to be trying to run out the clock. They're not going to be worried about it when they're up 35-0 at halftime. So certainly look out for those backups in Kansas City. Next up, as just a player, obviously not going to be playing this weekend, but still only owned in 36.6% of leagues, looking for a Week 5 return. Of course, this one predating Week 3. Brian Robinson, only owned, I said, about a third of the leagues, is looking to make a splash. And, granted, right now, yes, you have both the running backs up there right now, McKissic and Gibson, doing a pretty good job for the Washington Commanders. But when Brian Robinson comes back, there's still a lot of hype around this player individually, that what can he produce for this offense? What can he add in value? And it's going to be even a tougher competition now, because you're already seeing the success out of the two aforementioned running backs for Washington. So a player to stash potentially, at the very least, give it 3-4 weeks, and then drop at the sign of, not going to be running back number one for the Commanders, but certainly someone to keep an eye on. And speaking of keep an eye on someone that might be able to produce, after Damian Williams getting put on the IR for the Atlanta Falcons out at least 4 weeks, right now that leaves Cordero Patterson as the number one guy in Atlanta. But there is someone else in the backfield, Tyler Algier, who's going to be a player, I think, that's going to take some of those touches away from Cordero Patterson. I think has the potential to actually produce some points in place of Cordero, to let Patterson go back into a more of a wideout role to try to catch the ball. So 18.4% ownership right now. I personally picked up Tyler on this past waiver wire. I think that number is going to continue to go up. The next 4 matchups, while Williams is on the IR, you have at Seattle versus Cleveland, at Tampa Bay, and then versus San Francisco. So not necessarily easy matchups, but certainly curious to see what can Atlanta do with a new back, a new little splash of spice on top of this offense that has not been doing a whole lot here that we would expect. Which takes me to the running backs here that we are going to avoid. I talked about those running backs for Washington right now. That one of those is going to start with J.D. McKissic. I think it's not a good play. Philadelphia's defense is 12th in pass D. McKissic getting a lot of love here out of the backfield to catch the ball. Granted, you're going to get those PPR points for the receptions, but beyond that, I don't think there's going to be a lot of positive yardage. Not probably going to be looking for Washington to even win this game. I wouldn't expect a touchdown to come out of that either. So I'm just going to avoid McKissic going into this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. On top of that, I'm going to look in the entirety of the backfield for Miami, talking Edmonds and Mostert, both. Buffalo defense right now is the number one rush D, regardless if you're going to have Edmonds catching the ball out of the backfield or Mostert trying to, just punch it up the gut. I don't think that this is going to go well for the running back core of Miami. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout. I think the wide receivers have a decent chance to get some love, but Buffalo's defense is a force to be reckoned with right now. Even though these are 2-0 teams facing off against each other, I just cannot say that this is going to be one where I like Miami's offense to do a whole lot. And as I talked about earlier, those backup running backs for Kansas City are going to be getting a lot of love because of the fact that Kansas City's probably going to blow the Colts out. That's why I'm going to put Clyde Edwards-Helaire on my no-go list. I think the backups are going to get all of the attention here. Edwards might get 40, 50 yards, a couple of receptions. Lucky, maybe you're a touchdown. But I still think Kansas City, because of the fact they're going to be blowing the Colts out of the water, this is not a player that you're going to want to take. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire stays on the bench for this week. Again, thanks for watching. You guys want to stay up to date with all of my fantasy football beliefs. We'll see how this ages going into week 4, of course. I have a quarterback video, a wide receiver video, tight end video, even some defenses that we're going to throw into the mix as well. So if you want to catch all of that, make sure to subscribe, turn that bell notification to let you know when I will post these videos. I can't say that they're going to be entirely consistent, but of course, like, subscribe, leave a comment who you think I missed out on. If you think I'm completely wrong about stashing Brian Robinson, or you think Atlanta's offense is just not even worth putting Tyler Algier on your rosters at all. Of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think as well. So again, like, subscribe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.